And I'm going to spotlight you, Sir Gullu. And without further ado, our teacher for today, Gullu, Singh, thank you.
Thanks, Dishon. So nice to be here. So nice to see some of you that I just spent the last 5 days with, uh, keeping the practice going. So let's start. Let's find a posture that's as comfortable as you can in this moment. Some sense of being balanced in your posture and some sense of being upright. This sweet spot between relaxed and grounded and alert and wakeful. And letting the awareness permeate the body to notice what's true in this moment. Oops, this is my alarm to not be late that I snoozed. Uh, Noticing what's true in this moment. Just can be a knowing, doesn't have to be a concept or an idea. What's true in your direct experience in this moment. You feel the weight of your body on the floor and in your chair. Are you aware of any sensations? Are you aware of any emotions? Are you aware of any tension in the physical body? And can that be softened? On the exhale breath, can there just be a general softening? Are you aware of the attitude of mind that's meeting this moment? Maybe expanded, maybe contracted, maybe somewhere in between. And is it true in this moment that you're breathing? Something we can know in direct experience, outside of concept or idea, felt sense that the body is breathing. So letting the attention rest on this experience of breathing as a way to simplify. Narrowing the focus from all the things we usually engage with to breathing in, aware of the in-breath, and breathing out, aware of the out-breath. Simple. Don't need to add anything to this experience. I don't need to take anything away from this experience. Just receiving the never-ending flow of sensations from the breath in the body. And whenever the mind gets sidetracked into thinking, just release whatever's gripped the attention and begin again. Attention resting on the felt sense of the breathing body, and everything else more or less resting in the background. And if there's some experience that's reluctant to stay in the background, you can experiment with inviting it in, letting it be the focus of your awareness, a place of a strong sensation, a place where there might be some emotional energy, and maybe with a sense of breathing with or breathing through. Oh, the calming energy of the breath can help attend to this strong experience. Just staying steady with the simplicity of breathing in, aware, breathing out, aware. Body continues to relax, softening any strain. And abandoning any effort to get somewhere, get rid of something, and just relaxing in exactly how it is to receive the in-breath, receive the out-breath. When you notice that the mind is more focused on thinking, just taking a moment to assess, is this thought true? Without any judgment, don't have to change anything. Noticing, is this thought true? And then beginning again. Attention resting on the feeling of the breath, moving in and out of the body. Well, as we come to the end of our period of practice, inviting you to recollect something that you're grateful for. Visualizing this in your mind's eye, or if it's a person or another being, feeling into the felt sense of being in their presence. And then connecting with gratitude as a feeling in the body. Noticing where gratitude resides. It's the energetic quality of this experience. Does gratitude have a shape? And if so, imagining the boundaries of the place where gratitude arises, slowly expanding to include more and more of the body. And then maybe even letting the inner smile of gratitude creep outward. And even the smallest way, the half smile of the Buddha. And then receiving the sound of the bell, not as an ending of anything, but just a transition, quality of presence, quality of attentiveness remains unchanged. Okay. If any of you that are off screen are so inclined, I'd love to see your faces. My teacher Trudy used to always say, meditation is a come as you are party. So come as you are. It's nice to see your faces. I thought today I would share a little story from the time of the Buddha, short part of a story, and then talk about it. This story is the sutta, the teaching is called Instructions to Rahula at the Mango Stone. So in this sutta, the Buddha is teaching his commentary, say 7-year-old son, Rahula, and they do a foot washing ritual, and then the Buddha is holding a ladle in his hand with a tiny bit of water. And he says, Rahula, do you see this little bit of water? This is how little of a contemplative there is in anyone who feels no shame at telling a deliberate lie. So in other words, there's no inner check around lying. Uh, you're not much of a meditator. You're not much of a contemplative. The foundation of the practice has eroded. Then the Buddha throws the water away and he says, Rahula, whatever there is of a contemplative in anyone who feels no shame at telling a deliberate lie is tossed away just like that. So whatever little integrity you have is thrown away. Then he turns the dipper upside down. Now it's empty. He says, Rahula, whatever there is of a contemplative in anyone who feels no shame at telling a deliberate lie is empty and hollow, just like that. And when we tell lies, there's a kind of emptiness and hollowness to our character. And then he caps it off by saying, Rahula, when anyone feels no shame in telling a deliberate lie, there is no evil, I tell you, they will not do. Thus, Rahula, you should train yourself. I will not tell a deliberate lie, even in jest. Um, Pretty harsh words, actually. Hollowed out and thrown away. Um, no evil they will not do. Um, why would the Buddha take such a strong position on lying? I think it's because lying conditions the mind. Every time we lie, even in small ways, the mind learns it's okay to distort. It's okay to move away from what's true. It's okay to um, shape reality, to protect ourselves. And the sentiment can spread. Dhamma practice at its heart is about seeing clearly what's actually happening right here. What's the truth of this moment? This is how we free ourselves. But if the mind is trained to bend outwardly when we're speaking to people, then it will learn to bend inwardly as well. So we're not just misleading others, we're misleading ourselves. The mind becomes divided. This fragmentation causes agitation, weakens mindfulness. It strengthens the sense of self. So much lying comes from, protecting this egoic sense of self, the self that's hiding, the self that wants to appear a certain way, posturing, protecting. And at first, lying feels off. And I went down a rabbit hole one time with this research, but anthropology and evolutionary psychology broadly support the notion that we all know humans evolved as a highly interdependent, cooperation-dependent species. Our forebears, who are part of small tribes roaming the savannah, if you got separated from the group, uh, it's almost certain death. Predators, enemies roaming around. And the theory is that in this uh, evolutionary environment, trust and reputation became highly desirable traits. Capacities like fairness, guilt, sensitivity to norms can be understood as part of a system that helps groups function. Um, And in Buddhist terms, this aligns with Hiri and Otapa. Hiri, the better angel on our side that tells us we shouldn't do that, we shouldn't tell a lie. And Otapa, sometimes this is described as moral shame. Not my favorite definition, but it's that pit in the stomach you might feel when you say something that's unskillful. Um, And these, in the Buddhist view, Hiri and Otapa serve these very important functions. The Buddha called them guardians of the world. They help us keep our integrity, because when we're out of integrity, the body tells us. I think this explains why, when we talk about sila or ethical conduct, it often feels intuitive or familiar, even though there may be variations across individuals and contexts. Um, And most people, when they act against their own sense of honesty, there is internal tension, cognitive dissonance, guilt, and The Buddha said that one of the benefits of ethical conduct is that we free ourselves from this tension. We get to experience the bliss of blamelessness. So I love that idea, the sort of like that bliss that comes from knowing there's no skeletons in the closet, there's nothing you have to worry about. You've lived in integrity, kind of like carry yourself in a more noble way. But when we practice lying, uh, the discomfort begins to fade, and we lose our sensitivity. And you can see this in political figures who lie incessantly without shame. Sometimes I wonder, can you even tell the difference if everything that you're engaged with is a lie? And then when the inner compass totally dies, the Buddha says very directly, there's no unwholesome action. He's evil is the translation, but there is no unwholesome action that the mind won't justify. The slippery slope, as they say. Truthfulness isn't just a moral rule, it's actually a training. And Buddha says this, train yourself thus, Rahula. I will not tell a deliberate lie, even in jest. And this training is how we keep our mind aligned with reality. So even little moments of honesty are a vote for clarity, a vote for integrity, a vote for a mind that can see things as they actually are. There is a kind of embedded, uh, the axiom is kind of embedded in the whole of Buddhist practice. The truth will set you free. And, you know, that's the direction of the path. That's the direction to freedom. Maybe I'll just stop there and let those words settle. A lot of words. And then I would love to hear any reflections or comments comes up for you when you hear this teaching. Yeah, Jennifer.
What would the Buddha say to a white lie?
Never tell a
No
deliberate
difference.
lie, even in jest.
Okay, so there's no difference.
There's no wiggle room. And this is something I've grappled with myself because if you're trying to live in a way that is harmless and somebody says, how'd you like the food? And the
Yeah.
food was
Yep.
terrible.
Hmm.
What's the least harm? Do you just tell a white lie and save someone's feelings? Um, it's something we have to decide and it might be context dependent. My personal relationship with this has become to train to not tell a lie of any kind, even in jest, because I feel like it's a slippery slope. When does it, there's the small lie of, did you like the food? And then there's the bigger lie of, what did you think of my book? Or it just never, like, where do you draw the line?
Hmm.
Um, and it reminds me of another story from the Buddha where the Buddha was, I think it was just a monk. A monk was invited to a very lavish palace by a king, and it was completely over the top, ostentatious. The whole thing was like a, a testament to the size of the ego of the king, and in very poor taste. And the king asked the monk, "How do you like my palace?" and he said it is matched only by the grandeur of your persona, or something like that. Like telling the truth, and the king took it as a compliment, but it was also revealing uh, the truth.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Joanne.
Um, yeah, I'm really grappling with this one because I'm feeling hurt by a family member and, some great things are happening with them. And it's really hard to feel happiness. I mean, I think it's great, but to show genuine happiness when I feel hurt, how could I say, well, yeah, I feel hurt by you, so it's really hard to feel happy for you. I mean, I don't know how to deal with that.
So someone has said things about
Well,
you
there's
that are
something, that
untrue.
I found out and through another party. And so, it's my daughter-in-law said something to my son who told me, oh, she's not comfortable with you. Now something wonderful has happened to them. They're going to have a child. And I feel like, am I going to be part of the family?
Mm,
And this is so painful to me. Um, yeah, they're far away from me, but I worry what part of that life will I be. I would
yeah.
love to be a huge part, but I I can't force something on someone who doesn't want to be with me.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds very painful. I
It's
mean, in
very
the
painful.
context of this, maybe honesty is the best policy. Like when we hear your words, of course, we don't have all the context or any bias against you or any history. But when I hear these words, I hear a grandmother to be wanting to express her love. It's very beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. Isra.
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Good to see familiar faces, very sweet, and new faces. Um, Thanks, Joanne, for sharing something really real. I just wanted to say that I think that's really cool that you're willing to share such a complicated situation with everyone here. I was reflecting on this as you were offering the teaching about like all the different context, like, well, what about this context and that context and that context? And it occurs to me that there's so many instances where coexisting emotions show up at the same time, you know? And the truism of like, is it true and is it kind? And that, you know, there's integrity and honesty, but we're also holding that with the kindness and the other values too. So, I mean, how far down the rabbit hole do we go with what is a lie? A lie of omission. So if in one single moment I feel both, you know, envy, why did this person get the experience that I didn't get, you know, um, like, I couldn't have a certain important ritual in my life because it was COVID. Now a sibling gets that ritual, and I'm like, I never got that. I am both happy for them and sad for myself. I don't think it's appropriate to make their joyous occasion about, yeah, I didn't get that either, and I'm feeling that too at the same time. Like, is it a lie of omission? So I think there's like right, there's a tension, and at some point there's a decisional balance between what we share and not share. And we don't have to be like, I guess what I'm saying is there we're like sometimes these things are intention and there's something about timing and propriety and kindness. So I would choose like the kindness of focusing on his happy occasion versus right. But a part of me could say, oh, that's a lie. So I wanted to just show how complicated. I just wanted to say I think it's complicated.
Yeah. It is very complicated. One of my favorite teachings about wise speech comes actually from secular mindfulness. When MBSR training, they give you this acronym called WAIT. and wait stands for why am I talking? And I found that actually to be very helpful. Am I talking because there's a sense of self that's arisen that needs to be defended? Am I talking to build relationship or rapport? Or am I talking to express boundaries, which can be done with kindness? The markers of wise speech, according to the Buddha, were: is it true? Is it kind or not harsh? Is it beneficial? And is it timely? So when we need to draw lines or make boundaries, we can do it in a way that meets all that criteria. It tends to go better than if we just blurt it out. Yeah, the truth is complex, and just to say that's part of why we practice so diligently to try to see the truth of our own inner experience. Not so simple. Kyle.
Hi, thanks for the shares. I just wanted to say that as a recovering people pleaser, I struggle with the issue of integrity around speech. But I wouldn't say that for most of my life as a people pleaser, it's been intentional because I've sort of been telling a half truth in a way about what's going on inside of me to benefit others. And now that I've brought more awareness to that, I think I'm realizing, you know, yeah, do we ever recover? I'm realizing that that loss of integrity was always kind of present in the body. I just wasn't paying attention to it. But I thought that, and thank you for bringing in the is it kind, is it beneficial? Because in that, it's not beneficial to either of us that I'm not being more forthright with what's going on inside me and trying to people please. And so just finding that balance there.
Yeah, thank you. I love that reflection. And, part of the training, part of the meditative training, reveals that, like you just said, when it came into awareness. So um, we can tell lies unintentionally, not a deliberate lie. But then when we start to pay attention to our experience, that gets revealed. It's powerful. A lot of these things in Buddhist training are, you know, could say high bars or aspirational. And he says things like, graphic things like, even if bandits were to saw you limb from limb, to express ill will, not be to follow the teachings. And why it's a practice. There's a variety of practices I've encountered that are adjacent to this, that are interesting experiments. You can try this. One is um, the other aspects of wise speech are idle chatter or gossip. And gossip is really feeds a sense of self because there's usually some comparison or schadenfreude that's happening with sort of the juiciest gossip. And I've at times undertaken the training to not speak about anyone that is not in the room. And I mean, you could refer to somebody as their existence or that you had a meeting with them, but not to say anything about, or not to say anything you wouldn't say to their face. Encourage you to try it. It's not as easy as it sounds. And it reveals these impulses that we might not be so aware of. Yeah, probably. Sounds about right. 80% of our communications about other people. Yeah. Well, I'm heartened to see so many people willing to take an hour out of their day to practice. Makes me so happy. It's happy to see those of you that were on retreat recently keep the momentum going. I've got another retreat coming up at Big Bear. Deshaun, do you have those links? Maybe you could stick it in the chat. I'm going to be teaching a very short retreat with my wife, Gabrielle. She's going to lead Qigong. It'll just be a Friday. We arrive on a Friday and leave on a Monday. So just a very quick reset. Big Bear is lovely. Some of us were just there last week and we got snow in April, and just enough that it was beautiful, but not so much that it was a problem. So probably won't get snow in July, but yeah, we keep it low key. Although Trudy said we should lean into it because people like the mom and pop show, so we'll have to talk about that. Thank you, everyone. Be well. See you soon. Deshaun, you want to close this out?
Yes, please.
Deshaun. I mean, saying Deshaun, right? Yeah.
Deshaun, yes.
Deshaun.
Thank you.